And what's happening is we're discovering that women have even more of a reason to be pissed off at religion than we do. So there are a very fast-growing segment of the atheist community, and I am very pleased to see that. Now, some people do resent that. That's why I was saying we're having this internal struggle right now with some groups getting very upset about this and not quite getting it. But, you know, that's to be accepted, because I cannot and will not argue that just declaring yourself an atheist makes you smart and rational. There might be one or two stupid people in this room. You know who you are. Okay. So it happens. And, you know, we can't pretend to be superior that way. That acquiring knowledge, acquiring wisdom is an incremental process that takes time and experience and hard work to acquire. But I can say for myself, I'm the majority of atheists that I know, and I'm in close connection with all the leaders of the atheist movement, people who are running these organizations. And I can tell you that every single one of them is 100% behind this fact that we are overjoyed that more women and minorities are joining the organizations. That's what we want. We want to see change. Like I said, we're all weirdos and outcasts and renegades, and we love that. And we want the wildest, craziest, most different people. Then you should be one of us. The club is only closed to people who fuss about an imaginary afterlife, getting right with an imaginary God, conforming to an arbitrary dogma, and who think the most useless act of all, prayer, is a contribution you deserve thanks for. Those people never love. Okay, so like I say, we're building this diverse community. Community is the third point. Community is what we also value. You see, there's this tired right-wing stereotype of atheists that, tell me if you've heard this, we're all cranky curmudgeons, we're all these grim nihilists and loners. Yes, you're all alone out there, each one of you, all by yourself. Obviously, not a word of it is true. When you're a social pariah, as many atheists have been, is it any wonder that some of us might be a bit lonely and bitter? As my colleague on Freethought blog, Greta Christina, has been arguing, we also have good reason to be angry with a discriminatory society that does stupid things in the name of the Lord. So yeah, there's a grain of truth to the stereotype. We are kind of angry. We should be. But you see, atheism is blossoming. Atheists are coming out everywhere, speaking up on the internet and in public spaces. And they're gathering together in meetings like this one and discovering that we are not alone. And yes, it is good. We like each other. We work together. We are happy together. So now, 2 weeks ago, we had a wonderful meeting in Washington, D.C., the Reason Rally. Anyone here go? Few of you did. All the rest of you missed something. It was wonderful. 20,000 people gathered together in utterly miserable weather. It was cold and it rained all day. We were soaked through to the bone. I walked around in the crowds, and you know what? Everyone was smiling. Big smiles on their faces everywhere. Nobody was complaining, except for the cranky Christian protesters on the street. Seriously, it was infectious. The policemen monitoring the crowd were smiling. We go up and talk to them, and they were so happy to see us. It was weird. We were loved and accepted. God damn, if I were the Grinch, my heart would have grown 3 sizes that day. I was also privileged to be backstage with all the speakers and celebrities and leaders of atheist organizations, and they were all jubilant too. We were all damp and soggy. I remember watching Tim Minchin doing his set. He was barefoot on a stage that was about an inch deep in water with all these electric cables from amps and speakers all set up all over the place. And I was thinking, you know, one good short decapitates the entire atheist movement. But despite that, every one of us had these big goofy smiles on our faces. I mean, it was just this wonderful event. There was a moment, there I am hugging Tim Minchin. People were hugging each other. Wow. So that's what atheists do when they get together. I encourage it. It felt really good. Seriously, if you ever get together with Neil deGrasse Tyson, he gives the best hugs. Now, this is not surprising because we are a social species and we thrive in communities. It's how we've survived and grown so far. And atheists, contrary to some of our critics, are fully human. We are not aliens. This willing cooperativity is something we have to value. Not only is it who we are, but it's how the good atheists of the 21st century will win in the end. You see, we humans are different from other species in this regard. This is one of the things that sets us apart and makes us unique. And I have this favorite story. It's a short one. I'm going to read to you. It's from the primatologist Robert Sapolsky, who studies baboon behavior. And I'll tell you the bottom line of the story is we're not baboons. Fortunately, aren't you relieved? So here's the story. You see, when baboons hunt together, they love to get as much meat as possible, but they're not very good at it. The baboon is a much more successful hunter when he hunts by himself than when he hunts in a group, because they screw up every time when they're in a group. Say 3 of them are running as fast as possible after a gazelle, and they're gaining on it, and baboons are deadly, okay? But something goes on in one of their minds, and I'm anthropomizing here. He says to himself, what am I doing here? I have no idea whatsoever, but I'm running as fast as possible. And this guy is running as fast as possible right behind me. And we had one hell of a fight about 3 months ago. I don't know why we're running so fast right now, but I'd better just stop and slash him in the face before he gets to me. So the baboon suddenly stops and turns around, and they go rolling over each other like Keystone Cops, and the gazelle is long gone because the baboons just become disinhibited. They get crazed around each other at every juncture. Now, I think that's cool. I would love to see a movie of that. You know, I just realized all I gotta do is turn the TV to the Three Stooges, and there they are. That's baboon behavior right there. But that's not us, that's not most of us. We aren't baboon-like at all. Even though baboons are really scary animals, they're stronger than us, they're individually fiercer, and they have those huge savage fangs. They have this weakness, and we have this strength. You know that in the childhood of our species, we were prey to the predators of the African continent. Alone, we are soft, weak, and tasty. Really, atheists, we know this, they're delicious. And I'm sure the lions and the leopards enjoyed an occasional hominid snack. But together, I'm sure that when some ferocious big cat came upon a tribe of humans all together, and when they all turned 10 or 15 pairs of eyes on the predator and reached for stones and sharpened sticks, what do you think that cat felt? Fear. We are scary bastards. I am so proud of that. That's what's special about us. It is not that we work alone, but that we work together, and when we do, we can do such scary, dangerous things, and everything else should fear us. It's those eyes, you see, those hunter's eyes that we've got. You know, you turn those on people, and oh man, a group of us, we can turn those eyes in a cold calculation on any problem. And when our hands work together, we are the most powerful force on the planet. On the other hand, when we act as the humble flock, when we close those eyes in prayer and clasp those hands in pointless entreaty, we are weak again. We fail, we lose, we surrender to the parasites and con artists of our own society. So this is my message to you. We're the people of reality. We tear away the delusions, we dismiss the lies. Our grand idea, the focus of our identity, is this world, not the next, not that silly, ridiculous, imaginary next. And that what gives us the unity to apply these hunters' eyes and these hunters' hands to what we seek. And that's the truth. Thank you. You gotta question things. You gotta disagree with me. We're atheists. You gotta criticize. Come on.
We have time for about 20 minutes of question and answers for Dr. Myers. And our new Vice President, Sean Carlson, and our new President, Adam Isom, are going to come around to bring the mic to anyone who'd like to ask questions.
What are your suggestions for how we can get along with non-atheist religionists around us who happen to be our loved ones?
Oh. Well, yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? I mean, I had a grandmother who was a devout Lutheran. It was awkward. But, you know, the thing is, let's assume they're good people, right? These are your relatives. These are people who love you. Come out to them. You know, tell them what you think. Because that's what you do with people who you respect. And if they throw you out of the house, okay, it's not on you. Apparently they didn't love you as much as you thought. You know, it is better to learn now than later. You know, I'm being kind of glib there, I know. This is one of the things that many of the people I talk to face. I personally had a very easy time with it. I had a very liberal and accepting family, and so it's kind of unfair for me to say, oh, just come out with them. And I also know that there are other people who have struggled with this, who have lost family, whose spouses have left them, who've been disowned by their family. And it's kind of arrogant of me to tell you, yes, do it anyway. But if anything, I'm arrogant. Sorry. Yeah, do it. Because, you know, what are you going to do? How are you going to live your life? Are you going to live your life in the truth? Are you going to live your life seeking the truth? Or are you going to live your life hiding from other people? Even if they're people who you love. And I think we have to be strong. Now, fortunately, the atheist community has grown. And we now provide social support as well. So yes, if the worst comes to happen, there are people you can talk to. You know, you can email me. And I'll try to help as arrogantly as I can. But, you know, often what I know, people have come to these things, and I'll often just throw it to the community out at Pharyngula, and they'll talk about it. And that's often helpful too. Yeah. I hate that question because it's so hard to answer. I know.
So I have Mormon friends that say you can't be atheist unless you've studied all the other religions. How do I respond to that?
Did they study all the other religions before they settled on Mormonism? Yeah, you know, if a dog shits on the ground, I don't have to taste it to know it's not going to be very palatable, right? There's lots of things you can do. You can do the sniff test. You know, you can go by experience if you remember ever chewing on that stuff. You know, there's lots of things you can do. You can notice that other animals avoid it. The same thing with religions is you don't have to be immersed in them to recognize when they're telling you nonsense. Yeah, I would say to those people, you know, they come to me too, and I would just tell them, okay, well then show me your best evidence for your particular religion. Show me the piece that persuaded you that this is the only truth in the world. They never seem to be able to do that. They'll usually do something stupid like throw the Book of Mormon at you. And then, have you read that thing? It's crazy.
So if you look at history, we have religions, perceived religions now, but they basically started off as ideas. So if you mentioned Buddhism as being a religion, but what I know about Buddhism is it started out as a way of life, a philosophy, right? Another example would be Sikhism. You know, this guy who had an idea about, you know, how to live your life. But now it's a religion, it's a major religion. Yes. So is Hinduism, in a sense.
Oh yeah.
So what is it about these ideas which evolved to become a religion? Like if you look at Buddhism now, it's more about, you know,
right,
being servile to the image of Buddha.
And it's got things like reincarnation and stuff in it, lots of other things. Yeah, you know, religion is not just one simple thing. There's diverse religions, they're complicated, they've got all kinds of messy justifications. So What